And we're going to start at verse 5. And if you've studied your Old Testament, you know up to this point in the history of the children of Israel, God has always appointed someone over them. But that somebody was someone who had a relationship with the Lord. A prophet was generally the person who led the children up to this point. So something's interesting happening here in 1 Samuel. The prophet Samuel is old. He's close to death. However, his sons are not as they should be. So they are not, especially from the people's perspective, and even Samuel's perspective, not ready to take over in Samuel's place. Because it was normal that the sons would follow their father's footsteps and take over, but they weren't ready. So the people come to Samuel with a solution. And let's read what the solution is. Verse 5 of 1 Samuel 8. And it says, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee, for they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. According to all the works which they have done since the day I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me and served other gods, so do they also unto thee. Let's pause there. A couple things in verse 5. It says, Make us a king to judge us like all the nations. Now, we have to understand the children of Israel were unlike any other nation that existed. They had no king. They had God. No other nation had God. God was only available to the children of Israel. But now the children of Israel are saying, we don't want God and his rule. We want to be ruled like the world is ruled. We don't want God and his rule. We want to be ruled like the world is ruled. Give us a king. And give us a king specifically to govern us, to judge us. That's very important. We'll talk about that in a second. Very important. Now, we just read in Ezekiel 14, when the people are set up an idol in the heart, God does what? Gives them what they want. But it's not his will. But it's not his will. Very important we remember that. So let's keep reading here in 1 Samuel 8. Let's highlight a few of the things. I want to show you something here in these verses as we go down. I'm going to read 9 through 18. Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit yet protest soundly unto them, show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. And Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked of him a king. And he said, This will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. He will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over fifties, and will set them to heir his ground, to reap his harvest, to make his instruments of war, and the instruments of his chariots. He will take your daughters to be confectionaries, to be cooks, to be bakers. He will take your fields and your vineyards, your olives, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. He will take the tenth of your seed and your vineyards, and give it to his officers and his servants. He will take your men servants and your maid servants, and your goodliest young men and your asses, and put them to work. He will take the tenth of your sheep, and ye shall be as his servants. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which you shall have chosen, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. A couple things to point out. Now understand, while we're reading about King Saul, and this is history, this spirit is here today. And this spirit sits in many pastors in many Christian churches. So it says someone with this spirit will use the people. That's pretty much what we've read. But not only will it use the people, it will mandate that the people give a tenth of their earnings. Do you understand? We just read it. We just read it. Make sure you go back again. In verse 15, he will take the tenth of your seed and of your vineyards and give it to his officers. He will take the tenth of your sheep. Now understand, two things that get mentioned here. He will take a tenth of your produce, and you take a tenth of your livestock. Now, if you study tithing in the Old Testament, tithing was always produce and or livestock. This is very, very, very important. This is saying the king will replace